Before we get into this review, I want to say rest in peace to Etika, who has recently passed away. You've brought joy to the lives of many, and you will truly be missed. So this is easily the best episode of Season 2. I'm so surprised how well this episode was made. They certainly did this whole storyline and Garou justice, and I'm just so happy about that. They even added some stuff that wasn't in the manga. This is what I was hoping that Season 2 would have been the whole entire time. But this is great, and I hope the next episode follows suit. But other than that, let's get into it. So this episode opens up with the motivation of Death Gatling, which has kind of been spotty throughout the season so far. It was made more apparent in the manga up until this point, but it's better than late than never that we're finding out that Death Gatling just has a grudge against the S-Class heroes and the reputation that they get. He more or less feels that humanity and everyone else just sees the A-Class hero as supplementary and that they're not really anything special, and that if anyone really wants to get a job done, it's going to come at the hands of the S-Class heroes. And he's just trying to prove that, hey, we A-Class heroes, we're capable too. We fight just as hard, and we're willing to put our lives on the line just like they are. We're not any lesser than them because we're not superheroes the way that they are. And we're also finding out that he pulled all of the group that he has together because he personally knows them, and they've quote-unquote survived death countless times, and that they've proved themselves. So that's why he's got all of them together, because he wants not only to show that he is capable, but other heroes as well, because they're not all A-Class heroes. There's some B-Class guys sprinkled in there as well. And as we saw in the previous episode, Garou has his back against the ropes, and he's slowly succumbing to the poison from Shooter's arrows. But then we're getting a flashback to Garou as a child again, and the last time we saw him, we saw that he was sympathizing more with the monsters than the heroes. He thought they were cooler, and he thought that it's kind of unfair, the dynamic that monsters and heroes have in media and whatnot. And this is just further showing that, he's spreading it to the kids that are around his age, and how he's kind of alienating himself because they all love the heroes, and it seemed like Garou was the only one who really liked the monsters. He was actually rationalizing why the monsters are at a disadvantage here, and that they're actually the underdogs and the heroes have it so good and whatnot. But it just further building upon Garou and showing that he's not really evil. I mean, if anything, I would classify Garou as a chaotic neutral, and I think that's more evident than now, especially by the end of this episode. So Garou slowly starts getting the upper hand in an awesome fight sequence. I mean, it's awesome in the manga, of course, but man, they did it so well in this episode. This is my favorite sequence of the whole season. I just can't praise this enough. They did it so well. Honestly, this feels like it came right out of Season 1, in my opinion. Maybe you disagree, and that's fine. But then we're seeing some also little hilarious moments here when Garou just easily tricks Stinger. He's like, hey, Stinger, let's fight one-on-one, and then Stinger's just totally breaks character, just breaks from the plan that they originally had. He's like, all right, everybody step back, I'm gonna fight him one-on-one. And then Garou's like, lucky for me, they're just as dumb as you said they are, which is hilarious. And Garou continues to get the upper hand more and more, and then he encounters Glasses, who was kind of a mystery in the previous episode, but in my last review I said that Glasses is pretty significant, but they're not really showing you why he is. And much to my surprise, they're actually showing Glasses' full backstory here, and this is giving me hope that maybe my original theory about this guy is not so out of left field. Maybe there is more to Glasses, and that the hype I put on him was kind of justified. So we're seeing that Glasses started out in the Fubuki group, and he was just one of the lowly guys in there, so more or less, C/B class level dude. And eventually it got to the point of where he was overcome by this monster, the Demon Fan. So, of course, we don't see the full sequence of what happens here because they need to press it for the episode. But this whole little storyline has its own dedicated bonus side chapter to it. And in that chapter, we see that, Glasses was like a salaryman and that he didn't really have any motivations in life. So, similar to how Saitama was. And then one day he sees an advertisement for the Hero Association, and he goes there, and eventually he gets roped into joining the Blizzard group because that's what they do. They strong arm the new people into forcefully joining them. And then they encounter this demon level monster, the Fan monster that we saw in this episode. And it just wrecks them all because it's a demon, and the Blizzard group is comprised of all B-class guys, so they're no match for a demon. But, since it's Fubuki getting destroyed by this dude, of course Tatsumaki is going to show up because that's what she does. She has a psychic link with Fubuki, and whenever she's under duress or anything, she comes and saves her. So Tatsumaki shows up in this bonus chapter, and she just totally destroys the Demon Fan with one motion of her hand. But then she, like, just puts Glasses down. She, like, totally berates him, tells him that he's useless and whatnot, and that just further breaks Glasses' demeanor and mentality and everything. But then after that, the Demon Fan comes back together, and that's when Saitama shows up, like what we're seeing in this episode. And then Saitama, of course, destroys the demon and then gives Glasses that motivating speech. And that's what motivates Glasses to go on to training and become stronger, which leads him to wear a tracksuit similar to what we saw Saitama wear when he was on his path to removing his limiter. Although the slight difference here is that Glasses' jumpsuit is like green and Saitama wore like a blue one. But this is just showing that Glasses is more significant of a character than what you would think, because he's the only character that's really getting a backstory here among Death Gatling's group. But he also has like multiple bonus chapters dedicated to him. So look out for Glasses possibly in the future of the story. It remains to be seen how deep they're going to go with this guy, but I'm betting that he's going to turn out to be pretty significant in the future. So then Garou just goes on a rampage and just starts wrecking everyone, and this is awesome. I love this sequence. And then we get down to one of the most epic parts of this manga, when Death Gatling corners Garou, and Garou's like, look, dude, look, I know you're trying to get me, but there's a kid in that shed, so just don't shoot at me, or at least just don't shoot at the shed. And then Death Gatling, of course, is not going to listen to him because he thinks Garou is just completely unredeemable and he would just lie to save himself. But then we get to the epic moment where really this solidifies more than ever that Garou is the GOAT, in my opinion, of course. He's like, bear witness for the moment that a monster wins! And then he just deflects Death Gatling's death shower, just in an awesome sequence, barehanded, using the Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist. And then Garou's like, well, thanks. This just proves that I can't be killed by bullets. So, of course, this is an awesome sequence because he's deflecting the bullets, but he's also saving Tario here. And that's going back to what I was saying about Garou's not evil. He's just kind of misdirected in a way. I mean, he's chaotic neutral more than anything because he's not really choosing his side. He doesn't want to be with the heroes. He doesn't want to be with the Monster Association. He just wants to do his own thing. So then he finishes off Death Gatling, but then to our surprise, Genos shows up in his new upgraded form. But then it's revealed that he was called there by Glasses. Like, before Glasses passed out, he was able to use that communicator that was given to them by the Hero Association. We saw King talk about it in the previous episode. So that's how that showed up, and it shows Glasses had one last bit of significance to him. He wasn't completely useless. He probably did the most in this whole raid here. So we're also seeing, like I said, Genos' upgrade, which has happened after he got wrecked by Goketsu a few episodes back, and this is easily the strongest Genos we have ever seen in the series. He seems to be just as fast as he was at the beginning of this season, but his power output is way more than it was originally. His fighting skills seem to improve. He also has the whole added ability of the, you know, if his arm breaks off, it can just come onto a life of its own and just, you know, strangle Garou and attach him to the tree and everything. But during this fight, we see Garou remembering his fight with Watchdog Man, and we're seeing that he had indeed copied Watchdog Man's crazy wild animal style that Garou was talking about, how that's why Watchdog Man was able to dominate him so thoroughly, because the Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist is more designed for like human fighting, not so much against like animals and beasts and whatnot. So Garou, being the martial arts genius that he is, was able to pick up this style, and he uses it against Genos in like an improvisational manner, and he gets more of the upper hand against Genos. I mean, there's no clear winner in this fight, of course. But then, after he's tied to the tree, like I was talking about with the rocket hand that he broke off of Garou, something very interesting happens here. So after he breaks himself from the tree, after Garou stands up, we see that his right eye has become red. And then he, like, rubs his hands in his hair, and then his hair becomes red from the blood because the bullets that he deflected from Death Gatling. So Garou's taking on like a pseudo-transformation here. So, of course, the hair is just cosmetic, but the eye, that might be telling us that Garou is maybe slowly becoming a monster here, because he does talk about in the episode he is on his path to becoming a monster. That was like his main motivation at the beginning of the series. So either Garou just broke a blood vessel in his eye, which I don't think happened, but it is plausible, I suppose. Or this is like a slight monster pseudo-transformation for Garou here, like as he pushes himself more and more and pushes past his limits. So then out of nowhere, fodder from the Monster Association pull up, and they rescue Garou, and they like try to grab Genos and everything. And we're finding out that the Monster Association still wants Garou. We saw earlier in the season that Phoenix Man tried to recruit him and whatnot. He was like, nah, I'm not interested. But they're just forcing Garou to join at this point. But they also say something interesting. They're like, hey, you know, you're even being offered an executive position by the Monster Association. And we have to remember that the other executives that we saw so far in this season were Goketsu, crazy powerful Goketsu, Elder Centipede, and then that one cat monster, Neon. I'm sure we saw other executives, but basically the executives are the most powerful monsters that the association has. So we're seeing that they hold Garou in an extremely high regard. Oh, another cool thing here is that when Genos slices up those monsters, he has like that forearm blade, which is very reminiscent to the Guyver. One of my favorite series, very underrated. I'm sure some of you guys spotted that too. So then Genos also tells Garou about Saitama, like full hype here. And we're seeing that Garou is definitely recognizing that Saitama is now a person, despite him having met Saitama twice in this series so far. But to this point, both Garou and Saitama are unaware that they have met. But this is just planting the seed in Garou's mind that, oh wow, there's a guy out there that it claims no one can defeat, hero or monster. So then Bang finally shows up and intervenes, stopping Genos from blasting him. And this was like what Bang has been doing the whole entire season. He's just been tracking down Garou because he feels responsible for having Garou run rampage in this world because he's the one who trained him, so he feels he's the one who needs to put him down. And then we're also seeing his brother, Bomb, finally in action, and he's using his own unique martial arts, the Whirlwind Iron Cutting Fist, and he just blows that monster apart. Really awesome. I love how they did that in here. So then Garou and Bang face off using the same stance in a student-master confrontation, and this is epic, just as it is in the manga. But then something really surprising happens here, which I didn't expect at all, because like I said, I'm not really expecting much from Season 2, but they're adding new stuff. Like this flashback, if we see Garou meeting Bang, which we can assume for the first time, this doesn't happen in the manga. And like I said at the beginning of this review, I wish they did this throughout the whole season, because this is like one of the things that redeems the One Piece anime. They add more bits to it that aren't in the manga, that supplements and strengthens the story. And I love that they're doing this here, because we've always wondered, like, I wonder when Garou first met Bang, like what it was like. So we're just seeing, like, he just shows up there. He's like, hey, are you strong? But apparently, I guess he was fighting people before that by the time that he actually got to go meet Silverfang. Another interesting thing here is that we see Sourface is there. And this hasn't happened in the manga either, because Sourface lets us know earlier in the season when he's talking to Saitama that he was a former disciple of Bang as well. So this is cool. Like I said, just strengthens the story, and I wish we had more of this stuff. But that's pretty much the end of the episode. And then after the credits are over, we see that Saitama is going to show up in this location because we see the trees around him. They're the same as the trees in the location they're in this episode. So most likely, the next episode, the 12th episode, is going to be the final one of the season. I haven't heard anything that says it's going to go past 12 episodes. So let's just hope it turns out to be a great finale, because this episode is really going to be hard to surpass, in my opinion. So that's pretty much it for the review today, guys. If you liked the video, please give it a like, and let me know what you thought about this episode in the comments. I really hope you enjoyed this one, because I really do think that this is finally doing Season 2 justice, just in my opinion, of course. But let me know what you thought. I also have a Patreon. It gives you access to a weekly Q&A video that I do, and if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.